With no further ado, I'd like to hand over to Dan and to Harley from Wonderful Creative. Guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Go rock it. Go rock it.
That's scary when the floor is ours. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well and enjoying the sun. As Ryan said, it's beautiful here in Maidstone. So thanks for joining us this morning. We've got the session split into two. So we're going to do presentation for about 25 minutes now, looking at the time. Then we're going to go into breakout rooms, and we've got loads of chance for Q&A, find out what you guys are looking at in terms of your goals and objectives. We've done a quick audit on each of your websites and web presences. So we've got some feedback for you in the breakout rooms as well. But the idea is to be super interactive and to sort of, you know, have a two-way conversation. So the first 25 minutes, we're going to give you sort of 10 quick tips on sort of, you know, coming out, well, not out of it, coming through this period, getting back into the business world. What are some of the things that we can all do, cost effective, simple things to help us look at new business? Now, it depends on where you guys are at. Not all of these will be relevant for you, I'm sure. Some of these you'll have questions about, which is absolutely fine. As Kaz said, if you've got a question, either keep it for the breakout room or put it in the chat, and we'll try and answer as we go through. So I'm just going to share screen quickly, and then we'll crack on, if that's okay with everyone. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. So just a quick introduction. I'm Dan Maudhub, founder and MD of Wonderful. I work with all of our new clients in helping to get the right strategy in place. And as I always say, getting the most bang for our buck. You know, budgets are tight. We're all looking at how can we, you know, really sort of work best with current clients and new clients. And, you know, so I'm involved in these sessions a lot with clients and new clients. Harley is our marketing account director. She is absolutely brilliant at all things marketing, CRM, content. She'll talk to you for hours about that. And you'll get to see Harley in the breakout room later if you're with her. She's much better than me. So hope you get her. Just a bit about Wonderful. We specialize in helping companies to grow through technology and digital. So again, without geeking out and talking too much about us, we do a lot of work at coming into a business and going, look, is your tech set up and your digital activity ready for growth? So that's kind of what we're doing. That's why we're passionate about these kind of sessions. Client base wise, lots of varied clients. So hopefully we can help you with specifically with your business, whether we've got some industry knowledge or some specific knowledge about your particular business. Hopefully we'll give you value in that today. We're doing loads at the moment across the board in finance, media, B2B, consumer brands, lots in healthcare at the moment, lots in property. So hopefully, you know, we've got some value there. Ignore the awards. So 10 quick wins. Here we go. So we're going to focus this obviously around website sales and lead generation online. Now, for many of us, that's not the sum total of our business. Fully appreciate that. That obviously there's an element of face-to-face, there's an element of offline communication, whatever it might be. Face-to-face is obviously limited right now, but we're focusing this session on web traffic, online sales, online lead generation. And for some of us, that might actually be a fairly sort of new area to us. Many of us, ourselves included, as much as we're a digital agency, a lot of our sort of leads, referrals, meetings, we're at events, we're at face-to-face things. You know, it sounds a bit bizarre, but actually we're going more online, have had to go more online in the last 6 months. So we're on this journey, as much as we're a digital agency, as I said, we're on this journey with us all as well. So the first thing we want to talk about, and to be honest, from my perspective, one of the absolute keys to winning new business is to identify our baseline. So I'm going to throw out a few questions for you guys to write down and to go away and think about. I want this to be a practical session. But the first thing is looking at your baseline now. So what does that mean? What do our metrics currently look like now? So what do we mean by metrics? So if we're taking that from a website perspective, what does your current traffic look like as a very, very simple overview? If I was to ask you the question, are you measuring your traffic week on week, month on month? You know, so visits to our website and repeat visitors looks at the attraction part. Who's attracted to our website? Have the numbers gone up, gone down? What's the variables in those numbers? because it's amazing. People talk about, oh, we could do this marketing campaign and this social media campaign, but actually you're measuring how the website's performing. What is the baseline number of visits you get per month? How is that varying? How is that changing? And then we look at that in terms of conversions. So what leads, what's the baseline marketing qualified leads do we get per month? What do we mean by a marketing qualified lead? We'll talk a bit about that later, but is that someone that's downloaded a piece of content, that's requested a brochure, that's actually signed up to your newsletter? You know, those are the types of things that generate marketing qualified leads. What is your baseline currently? Because it's very easy to look at new ideas, new campaigns. But if, you know, I always say, like, if the engine of the car doesn't work, it doesn't matter how nice the car looks. You can have a beautiful looking website, beautiful social media, but the engine is the website, right? If it's not converting, then, you know, it looks good, but doesn't work. That's the honest truth. So the first thing we look at is look at the baseline. Then we look at SQL. So what proportion of your email newsletter database, of your brochure downloads that are marketing qualified leads, what portion of those become sales qualified leads? How does that process look? You know, is it a case of, you know, are we phoning up our database and seeing how they're doing? We'll come on to that later. But what's the ratio of MQLs to SQLs? And then ultimately, it's looking at the customers. So we've got visits to our website, we've got hits, we've got traffic, we've got the top end of the funnel stuff. What portion of those become MQLs? What portion of those become SQLs? And then ultimately down to conversions. If we've got that as a baseline, we then know what growth looks like. So that's a really sort of, hopefully it's a really practical way of starting to look at what the baseline looks like. And then ultimately, we're looking at those that repurchase, that stay with us, that become repeat business, become loyal customers. And listen, I fully appreciate that not everything is done online. In my business, it's not all done online. You know, we still spend most of our time talking to people, engaging with people, whether it's virtually or in socially distanced meetings. But at the end of the day, we've got to look at what our funnel looks like and the baseline looks like. And then we can start to work out some metrics. What is our cost per acquisition to win a new client? Genuine cost per acquisition. What's our lifetime value of that client? Out of 10 clients, how many of those become repeat business or become one-off clients? What's the average sales value? So you can begin to build a new business strategy basically from identifying the baseline. I hope that kind of makes sense, and I've gone through it clearly enough. I could talk about this particular thing for hours, but we've got about 18 more minutes and 9 more points to go. So I'm going to move on. I see there's some questions in the chat, which is great. 2 seconds. Anything to answer now? No, Paul?
Yeah, you're all good, Dan. I think people were just asking, just to let you know, this meeting is being recorded, and we'll share with you this presentation as well that's being said. So yeah, in case you're making loads of notes.
Perfect. Okay. So point number 2 is CRM, so a customer relationship management system. Now, what we mean by that is in terms of quick wins, it's amazing, right? The amount of people I talk to and go, how are you working with your current data? Oh, yeah, it's all in a MailChimp list. Cool, fine. Is that list segmented? Is it separated? Could you tell me how many CEOs you're talking to of the types of companies you want to work with at the moment? Oh, no, but it's all just in one list. Well, how do we send them targeted messages? How do we show them relevant case studies? How do we send them a relevant piece of content if everything is in one jumble sale of a list? I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying the importance of CRM is really, really, just paramount, I think, to coming into this sort of new normal where we're having to work with people virtually. We're having to do a lot more online campaigns. So CRM moves everything from lists and data and making sure that we know we're sending relevant messages and having relevant conversations with a relevant audience. So it's not just, for example, sending out a blanket email newsletter template to everyone in our list, when actually we should be sending it out to our current clients. Or, if there's lapsed clients of people we haven't worked with for 3 months or 6 months, they should be getting a different message or a different email campaign or a different set of sequencing. So there's so much you can do with CRM. I mean, Harley will talk to you about this for hours if you let her. But we're HubSpot trained, we're HubSpot certified, and HubSpot. So we do a lot of work with the HubSpot process. And when you start deep diving into it, there is literally dozens and dozens of things that we know that you can do with a CRM that really helps to drive engagement, drive marketing qualified leads, drive sales qualified leads, and ultimately helps with conversion. So automation processes, for example. So in other words, being able to send out relevant campaigns based on what people click on and click through. But I think as a starter for 10, one of the questions, one of the encouragements for you guys is, have you got a CRM in place that actually is managing your data properly? Now, if it's MailChimp or something similar like that, absolutely fine. Is the data segmented? Are you looking at the results and saying, do you know what, that campaign worked better than that campaign? This time of day always works much better to send this type of content. So your data is so incredibly powerful, because ultimately that becomes your network, particularly in a virtual environment. Our network is the people that we can talk to online for a lot of us. Now, I know some businesses are going back to physical environments. Some people are meeting face to face, but for many of us, it's still largely an online process in terms of new business. So data becomes absolutely key to that process. Again, if you've got any questions on that, please fire them away. Look at those two cheesy faces. So video content, I think for many of us, and myself included, video can be a real cringe, but you know, video is such a powerful form of communication. And you've probably heard this a dozen times, but what we wanted to talk about today is actually there's simple tools like Vidyard. You see it in the graphic there. Vidyard is a free Google Chrome extension that basically you download the Chrome extension, you press the Vidyard button, and it enables you to send a video, either full screen video like this, or with you as a little round, your little round lozenge face in the corner with a screen showing, and you can record really simple videos. You can literally share your screen and record what's on the screen. You can share a presentation. You can talk through something. So we're seeing these types of video, this type of video content be used more and more in the sales process. So I'm not talking about big, fancy, you know, corporate videos. I'm not even talking about social media videos. I'm talking about videos that win new business. So if you've got a proposal to send to a client, or you've got something you want to share with a client or potential client, Vidyard is such a really good practical tool that you can just jump on. It's very simple. Even I can use it. You click share screen, you pop up in the corner, you record the video, you send the video to the recipient. It's as simple as that. And so, you know, video becomes such a key part of our engagement with clients online, particularly in the new business process. Why? Because people buy from people. I still buy that adage, is that at the end of the day, in the digital world that we live in, we still buy from people we know, like, and trust. And yes, you know, like, and trust the business and the brand, but it's the people within that you still buy from. For many of us, it's still very, you know, same with us. When you engage with Harley, you know her, like her, trust her. She's an expert at what she does, and therefore you're more likely to want to engage with her. And that's why video for us has become such a really powerful form of communication. So have a look at Vidyard. It might be something relevant for you guys.
Dan, sorry, just one thing on that actually.
Yeah.
Just as what you were saying really, but another good thing about the kind of video that Dan's just mentioned is you can do a really personalized video, really low budget, just doing it off of Vidyard, but the video can look personal, but you could actually be sending it out to a massive group of people and they're not to know that video wasn't made just for them. So you can kind of put a really nice tailored message together saying, hi, thank you for downloading our white paper. We really appreciate you visiting our website, or, you know, whatever they might have done. And you can send it off to those people and they will think that's a nice personal message, even though it's actually taken you maybe 5 minutes to put that together for, say, 100 people. It's quite a nice quick win.
Definitely. And particularly in a B2B environment, you know, obviously where you've got a more focused communication, or you might have a more in-depth proposal, things you need to discuss. If you can't get to meet that person because of, you know, they're working from home or social distancing rules, do a video, do a quick video. So I do want to kind of encourage you to sort of maybe try it out. It's a free Google Chrome extension. You download it, try it out, see if it works for your business. It might not work. Like Harley said, maybe try it out as a small campaign to 15 people and say, hi, I'm John, just wanted to, you know, let you know we're still going, or we've got this new product out, or we've changed this offering since COVID, or something that's relevant to them. See the response. Now, at the end of the day, we know that we spend a lot of time watching video content. Let's be honest. If you're on social media, watching video content of cats, that's what seems to be the internet was invented for. And so, we watch video content as consumers, but as business people, we basically become online consumers, right? In the last 6 months, because that's the way we've had to communicate. So have a look at that. Number four is gated content. The gated content it's amazing the amount of websites you go on and they've got a white paper or they've got a really cool blog post or a big article on something and it's not gated. What do you mean by gated? Simply, if you've got a piece of content, ask people to put their name and email address in before they download it. So you're capturing their data so they become a marketing qualified lead. Now, one of the amazing things is when we sit with clients and they say, oh, I haven't got any content, I'm not really good at anything. You ask them about their business and ask them to give you some of what's happening in their industry and they'll talk to you for 2 hours about it. And you think, well, why don't you turn that into a video? Why don't you turn that into a white paper or get a copywriter to work with you to turn it into a piece of high value white paper, give it a catchy title, make it relevant for your audience. So, for example, why digital transformation is the lifeblood of business growth for ambitious brands. If you're an ambitious brand and you want to grow your business, that white paper could be relevant to you. Now, this is on our website. We get downloads every other day without promoting it, without any paid media, without any advertising. We get downloads, 3, 4 a week, Harley? Just on that white paper alone. Yep. So in terms of us building lists and us building marketing qualified leads, we get those every week and we've turned marketing qualified leads into sales qualified leads and closures from doing that. So gated content, again, we could talk about that for a long time, but it's a really simple way in which we can get more leads online. Cost effective as well. Not talking about advertising, not talking about big spend, so on and so forth. We're talking about creating the value in the content that we have. Next one is live chat. It's amazing. I mean, put your hands up if you use live chat. Sometimes people don't want to pick up the phone or put their email address in because they're not ready, but they do want to chat. They do have a question. They've got something, they've come onto your website on a particular page about your service or product, and they've got a question. How do they engage with you straight away? How do you capture them at their point of need? Live chat is such a brilliant way of capturing an audience at a point of need. Now, there's loads of free live chat options out there. If you are on HubSpot, for example, HubSpot have got a live chat bot as part of their CRM. There's loads of free live chat options out there. Google it, Google free live chat, and try it in your business. See how it works. I mean, there's loads. I mean, you get everything from the AI fully automated bots that will take you around the website and do some very, very clever stuff. We did a really cool Facebook AI bot for one of our clients where you can be on Facebook and you can search something, look at something, and it will talk to you and guide you through their whole business just through Facebook. Didn't even need to go onto the website. And then you can make a booking for that client directly through Facebook. So anyway, forget that. But you got the complex AI stuff, but you've got the simple stuff. Hi, how can I help you? What are you looking for? And those things can be automated as well. So live chat is a really, really practical way of just being able to capture someone on your website at their point of need. I've got a question. I'm not going to pick up the phone or send an email in. I want an answer now. Let live chat work for you. And again, we use that all the time. And it's a really key part of the business. Next one, and I'm sure we're all doing this, and I'm sure we're kind of, we do it to different degrees, but LinkedIn, we spoke earlier on about the power of our database, and about the power of being able to connect with those people that we're in connection with. And I've been guilty of this. I look at my LinkedIn account and think, I have loads of connections, loads of people I know, and I just don't talk to them. Just don't talk to them sometimes. I don't send them a message and say, how are you guys doing? What's happening in your business? If you want to talk about lead generation and talk about winning new business, going to our current connections is by far the most efficient and most relational way of winning new business. Actually sending a message and saying, how are you doing? What's happening with you? So have you looked at your connections recently on LinkedIn and actually done some work with them? Have you segmented them? You can download your data on LinkedIn. Have you segmented them by title, by industry, by interest, by your last conversation with them? Don't sell on LinkedIn, engage on LinkedIn. Be a human. LinkedIn is still humans talking to humans. Now, this isn't a LinkedIn workshop, but, you know, it's such a powerful tool to be able to engage with those people you're in connection with. So as a starter for 10, it's something we can all do. If we're on LinkedIn and we've got connections, talk to them. Find out what they're doing. Find out what's happening with them. And you know what it's like. The more conversations you have, the more networking you do with the relevant people, the more opportunities that uncover. You know, the amount of times I talk to someone and say, oh, do you know what? Actually, so-and-so is looking for a website. Still now, in this whole digital world, the most leads we get are for referrals and are for people that we know. You know, referrals still account for 70, 80% of our new business. It's incredible. And a lot of that is through our networks, through people we know and have worked with and have built trust with over time. Now, there are obviously several layers to LinkedIn, and what you can see in the visual there is the Sales Navigator tool. And there's loads we can do, you know, we can talk about in terms of Sales Navigator, but actually reaching out to people, relevant job titles, relevant industries, relevant interests, and start to engage with new potential new clients over LinkedIn. But we're just talking about going to your current database and talking to them for now. If you want to know more about Sales Navigator and how it works and stuff like that, chat to us in the breakout rooms. I'm more than happy to go through that in more detail. Next one is reviews. I mean, Harley, do you want to pick up on reviews? Because that's something I know you do a lot for SEO purposes.
Yeah, I think this is quite an important one and that people don't realise is associated with SEO. So obviously reviews are good for your credibility. They're good to put on your website because then it makes people trust you. That goes without saying. But something a lot of people don't actually realise is the more reviews you get, the higher you are to rank in Google for your related terms. So it's just quite a nice quick win. And it's something I did at my previous workplace. We did a reviews campaign, which we sent out to all of our existing clients, just asked them to review us. And I think we had about 10 or so reviews within a week. And our Google ranking, it just seemed to boom literally in a couple of weeks. So it's definitely one to try. I've definitely seen really good results with it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, reviews, you know, sort of encapsulate a lot of what we've been discussing about, which is about connecting with your clients, finding out how they're doing, what they think. Would you mind leaving us a review? Can you incentivize that, motivate that? And again, it's being relational and relevant in the times we find ourselves in. And as Harley said, there's a massive SEO impact. So, you know, there's a real sort of technical side to why you would do reviews as well. But from a client engagement and relationship perspective, there's nothing better than going to a new business meeting or a new business pitch and saying, please just check out our last 5 reviews. You know, and you're more than welcome to drop them an email or give them a call and I'll give you a testimonial. I mean, to be honest, we do that all the time in terms of if we're looking to win a new client, we say to them, go speak to some of our clients and see what they think about it. And it's a bit scary sometimes. You don't actually know what the client's going to say, but most time, yeah, pretty much all the time, they're positive, but they're honest. You know, if we've delivered late on something, they'll tell us honestly. But it's a case of being able to, you know, use our current clients to help us win new clients. It's such an important principle. And then, yeah, I mean, you know, coming to land now, referrals. I mentioned that before, but referrals are absolutely vital. You know, the power of our network is absolutely vital. So have you got a referral strategy is a question I would ask as a blanket question there. You know, could you sort of say, do you know what, this is how we win referrals? Because referrals are such a key way because the trust is there, the credibility is there, you know, and you're using the power of your network. So a lot of what we talked about today, as much as it's online, it's an online process, using your relationships and your network is absolutely key to driving success online. So referrals are really important. Remarketing. So we're starting to talk more about engaging with our customers on wider than just our website. But remarketing is basically when someone hits a particular web page or a particular product or particular offer, something on your website, that effectively they get served relevant and targeted ads on other platforms relevant to what they've seen. So effectively, they're being remarketed to, hence the phrase remarketing. Now that can happen on Google, that can happen on display networks, in other words, display advertising, not ads that you see. It can happen on social media. But again, you know, if you're trying to get a consistent message across to someone and they've hit a particular product or service on your web page, they might not be ready to buy. They might not be ready to engage because they're just browsing. They're at the sort of top end of the funnel. But actually, after they've been remarketed to 2 or 3 times, make sure you set the campaign up properly and they don't get spammed. If you do the campaign properly, they get hit for a certain amount of time, a certain amount of days, or a certain amount of time, then they're engaging with you again. They're seeing you. They're seeing more content. They're seeing more adverts. Maybe there's an offer. Maybe there's a downloadable piece of content. But remarketing is such a powerful way of staying in contact with your web visitors when they're not on your website. Is there anything you want to say about that, Harley, as we finish up?
No, to be honest, I think you covered everything there, really. I just think it's, as you said, it's a really good way to kind of get people to kind of come back to your website and then convert if they've maybe forgotten about what they were looking at a couple of days ago or got distracted. It's just a really good way to keep people engaged. Yeah,
perfect. Yeah. And last but not least is tracking and reporting. You know, if you can't measure it, it's hard to know what's successful or not. So it kind of goes back a little bit to point one, which is about identifying the baseline, but bringing that into tracking and reporting. It's amazing the amount of companies that have, and it's hard to do sometimes because it can be quite technical and quite geeky, but, you know, have you got the right tracking and reporting in place? So are we tracking those things that enable us to measure what our baseline is? So that's where the CRM piece comes in. That's where you've got your web tracking like Google Analytics. That's where you've got things like your social media analytics. Now it's worthwhile, just to be completely honest with you, it's worthwhile just looking at YouTube videos and working out, you know, or other sort of like Udemy's and online courses like that. And actually, I'm sure the Chamber will do some very good courses as well. But just on you know, how to set up tracking, how to look at what things to measure, because you can look at it. It looks a bit like a jumble cell sometimes. But what should you be tracking? How should you be reporting? Having internal reporting structures within the business is absolutely absolutely vital, because if you can't track it and you can't measure it, how do you know if it's successful or not? There's so much we can go into. I mean, tracking is quite complex and can be quite complex. We actually built our own tool called Omni BI to basically bring all of the data into one dashboard and spit out the data as a series of graphs and charts so that even like Luddites like me can understand it. So, but tracking and reporting is really, really important, because particularly nowadays, because being honest with you, I look at my business, budgets are tight. I need to make sure that I've really got to make sure that what I'm doing is of value to customers. So if we put a blog post out, I want to know how many people have read it, because I've spent, you know, my team have spent, you know, probably 8, 12, 16 hours working on that. And being completely blunt with you, that's time I'm paying for. I want to make sure it's working. So I want to make sure it's tracked. And I want to then see what we can do to make it better next time. So tracking and reporting, even in our business, has become so much more relevant and important, you know, as we come through these COVID times. And, you know, as I'm coming back into the office now and looking at, you know, growing the business and winning new business, tracking and reporting is absolutely vital. So my question is, what does your tracking and reporting look like within your business? Now, we can talk about that in the breakout rooms if you want, because that's quite a complex question. So I think we're done for our top 10 tips. Hopefully that's been practical. Hopefully that's helped out in some way. So we can go into breakout rooms and discuss that in more detail if you like. So I will stop sharing screen and hand over to you, Paul.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thanks for that, Dan. So what we're going to do for the next half an hour, or just under half an hour, you're all going to be divided. So some of you are going to be in the room with Dan and Kaz, and then the other half of you are going to go in the room with Harley and Ryan. So I'm going to break you off now. You'll be able to answer. You can unmute yourself and you can ask any questions in those breakout rooms, and then I'll bring you all back in here just to wrap things up around about 11:30. So I'll activate those rooms now, and hopefully off you go.
Back in the main session.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you. I hope that was useful. Small, intimate conversations. I always look when networking to think, well, you know, how many people can I engage with in an hour if I'm doing one-to-ones? But of course, I've had the opportunity to engage with all of you guys today, which has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for your patience. It's been really good to have Dan and Harley with us. Even if it wasn't relatable to where people are in their business right now, it's certainly something that we can learn from and aspire from. So I found you very, very enlightening, guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
if I